When it comes to Degrassi dads, there's a lot that come to mind. And a lot that weren't there. Like JT's dad abandoned him. We don't know about Spinner's dad if he died during the show. And many other dads, especially Jane and Lucas's dad, who basically molested Jane at a young age. There have been some bad dads and there have been some good dads too. Marco's dad, despite his beliefs, basically wants Marco to be happy, which is great. I mean, Toby doesn't have a good dad, or because, you know, the separation of his parents and all that. There are a lot of Degrassi dads. But what if I told you there was one Degrassi dad that was pretty good, but he ended up becoming principal for the longest tenure in Degrassi history and practically has had his ups, his downs, his all arounds. Yes, that's right. It's the Archie Snake Simpson case study. So, Archie Snake Simpson, one of the OGs that Degrassi didn't do dirty in Next Generation, Next Class, whatever. Many original characters, such as Joey, Wheels, Caitlin, Spike, and even Raditch, were not really portrayed well in the Degrassi canon. But I guess when Stephen Brogan is an executive producer, he basically can just focus on putting himself in a show. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I don't care. But anyway, Snake appeared in the first ever episode of Degrassi Junior High called Kiss Me Staff, and he made a weird impact. He was playing electric guitar, saying, "My name is Snake, make no mistake." That's a weird way to start your Degrassi career. That line, "My name is Snake, make no mistake." That's funny. Snake in junior high and high had decent time. He spent a lot of time being with Joey and Wheels, being part of the Sit Remedy, or the Sits as they later rebranded themselves, and basically singing their key song, "Everybody Wants Something." Unfortunately, the group goes through some problems, mostly because of Wheels' adoptive parents, who basically don't want Snake around. I mean, Wheels around Joey. Snake, I think they don't have any bad feelings towards. So anyway, Snake ends up inviting Joey and Wheels over to a sleepover. Unfortunately, Wheels has an eye appointment and must get to the eye doctor. So Joey decides to drive Snake's car and has a dent in it. So basically, they have to use all their money to fix the dent. But the weird thing is, they could have they pulled it off, but they were caught, not because someone they knew saw them, but because, weird as it sounds, Snake's dad said thank you for the dent and all that. So basically, what ended up happening was that Snake's dad's car had a dent in it in the first place. So basically, they fixed it, and that's how they got caught. And they were basically told not to go anywhere near each other, except for school, obviously, because you can't avoid that unless you can. So anyway, Snake transitioned into Degrassi High. Snake's big movement in Degrassi High was basically being the unfortunate one to see Claude Tanner's lifeless body after Claude decides to kill himself after his parents both don't want him and Caitlin kept spurning him. Although it was Claude's fault. I mean, Claude did leave Caitlin high and dry during a protest. So, well, Snake ended up having to go to the washroom and basically went to the washroom and then found Claude's body and alerted Raditch, who looked pretty young at that time. And basically, they found something. Snake obviously misses a bit of school because of the trauma he felt seeing that dead body and all that. Basically, Snake and Joey talk about their feelings. Snake, of course, is upset with Wheels because of how Wheels played him like a chump and all that. I don't know. I guess because Wheels, I think Wheels just went off the rails after his adoptive parents died and he was living with grandparents. Just basically, Wheels took advantage of his grandparents and all that. So anyway, as we learn, But, Snake actually does take pity on Wheels. After Wheels gets kicked out of his grandma's place, he tries to go live with Joey, but he steals money from Joey's family. So basically, he's kicked out too. Wheels goes back to his grandparents and gets a job when he's willing to pay Joey back everything. Of course, Snake in School's Out. School's Out is a very good show, episode. Well, a movie, but it could be an episode. So, but anyway, Snake is upset that Joey and Wheels keep bugging him to find a girlfriend and all that. And it doesn't help matters that, Snake feels that Joey and Wheels are terrible people. Joey for dating two girls at the same time, and Wheels for drinking a lot, even though that he vowed never to drink because of his adoptive parents dying in a car crash. So basically, yeah. But Wheels says he's going to fix up a few cars. He's going to get to Calgary with his girlfriend and basically live a normal life. Joey doesn't know what he's going to do. Well, Joey has still a year of high school to graduate from. Strange how Caitlin, who's a year younger than Joey, actually jumped up a year in graduation. That's weird. But anyway, yeah. So Joey still has a relationship with Caitlin. But, Caitlin wasn't around Joey. And Joey found Tessa, who broke up with her boyfriend. So basically, Joey goes after Tessa. But he still wants to go after Caitlin tells him they want to go out. Long story short, Joey ends up getting Tessa pregnant and basically being with Caitlin and all that. Snake is so pissed off with Joey still riding him that he basically blurts out that, yeah, you're great, Joey. You're a good fucking guy, and you're fucked Caitlin over, and you're fucking Tessa Campanelli. No, you fucked Tessa Campanelli, and now you're fucking Caitlin. Caitlin learns that Joey was cheating on her with another girl and got her pregnant too. I don't know why Tessa didn't tell Joey about these things, about the abortion or the kid. Joey would have probably had to step up to the plate. I don't think Tessa would have stepped up to the plate. Maybe that's why she lied to everyone. So basically, yeah. So, yes. Snake's behavior was not deplorable. So Joey asked for it. That's the problem. So anyway, Snake goes to college. He meets a girl named Pam, and they hit it off. And then of course that's the end of Degrassi until Next Generation was conceived in 2001. Now I'm not really going into the chronological timeline here because some things I could mix up. So I did a Reddit post this week, and it said, I do a lot of video case studies on characters. Snake is next on my list. I know some of his highlights on his time of Next Generation / new class has been courting and marrying Spike, dealing with Emma trying to find her real dad, having leukemia, having to deal with Ratchet's attentiveness to the Rick Murray situation, having a midlife crisis and kissing Castellanos, getting Spike back, dealing with Connor, being principal in season 10 and having issues within the school. And I said, I don't know, am I missing something from the Next Generation era? And I don't have much knowledge of junior high or Degrassi high. About stuff except sit, remedy, finding clothes, fighting in the bathroom, and falling out with Wheels. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Snake falls out with Wheels in School's Out because Wheels ends up getting drunk behind the wheel and is taking Lucy to get some chips, and then he crashes into a car and kills an infant, and he serves a lot of time in jail. Benji said, what about Darcy? Yeah, that's true. I forgot to talk about Darcy and all that. Somebody said that he only saw his brother once who was gay. That would be Glenn. Yep, that's right. He had a gay brother. And Snake's parents disowned him. Yep. So yeah, we got that. Melanie Michelle. Yeah, Melanie, yeah. He was drama free a lot. And then Cat Collective said that the pilot episode when he tracks Emma down after she meets up with the pedo in the hotel room, and he had flashbacks when Dave and Wesley told him that Connor was meeting up with some lady he met online. That's right. That's right, Snake. I guess I can do a chronological timeline. Okay, so basically the first ever episode of Next Gen was mother and daughter, mother and child reunion when Emma is happy about trying to see a boy she likes over the internet who's an environmentalist like her. But unfortunately, she ends up finding out that he's a middle aged man taking advantage of little girls. So, anyway, yeah, basically, Snake and Spike kind of talk to each other at the reunion, all that. And of course, Spike is found out by Manny, JT, and Toby, who basically tell them that Emma might be in trouble with this Jordan guy. So basically, Spike and Snake and the kids save Emma from being hurt and all that. So yeah, it's amazing. Okay, and then of course season 2, he decides to date Spike, and Emma is not too pleased about it. I think Emma just basically hid her true feelings, that she was upset that her mom would date a teacher and how that would imply on her standing in the school social economical climate. I mean, I understand with Emma. I mean, Emma basically was upset about how people thought of her. If her mom dates Snake, Emma lashes out, but Emma actually decides with good balance that basically she should give Snake a chance, and so she does. Snake then, you know, is in the center of something else with Emma, that Emma ends up winning the science fair, and that's fantastic and all that. And then she learns that Snake was one of the judges and basically wasn't sure if she won on her own grounds. Liberty tells her that basically, with everyone now knowing that Emma's mom's going out with Snake, it's going to be bad for Emma, and Emma should give up her science fair project to Liberty. Now, of course, and Manny says that Liberty is just being petty and all that because she didn't win. And Liberty said, "You don't know what rumors can do for someone. I had that done to me." Obviously, Liberty saved that to get on Emma's nerves because, you know, Emma started that rumor about Armstrong and Liberty. But I mean, she didn't know. She mistook it for a sign, and Emma confessed later on to Radich. So yeah, so basically Emma basically wants to give back it. I think Emma was going to give back the science fair award on her own merit without Liberty being such a prissy pants. But Snake points out to Emma that basically Emma's scores did well with the judges, and Snake had nothing to do with it. Emma would have won anyhow. Oh. But then Emma and Snake bond and all that, and, you know, Emma's happy. Emma basically gets involved with Snake again after, Spike ends up getting pregnant, and after telling Emma she doesn't want a second mistake, Emma feels it's her responsibility to tell Snake because, you know, she's a monster. You gotta stop her. That's, of course, Emma being anti-abortion. Snake and Spike talk, and then they find out they want this bundle of joy and all that. They're going to be good parents, and Emma will be a good big sister. So basically, the marriage happens, and then a few episodes after that wedding episode, Snake gets involved in Emma's prissiness towards Radich. I mean, Emma's hatred towards Radich is kind of excusable. It is excusable, but the fact of the matter with it is that basically Snake gets involved because he actually practices with Emma about her genetically modified foods protest and all that. But he also has to deal with a prudent Emma who refuses to leave the school for her half-day suspension, and tells Emma that basically she needs to leave. And Emma says, "Are you siding with Radich over me? Don't test me like this." Of course, Snake then tells Emma, after hearing what Radich has told her, like the ultimatum, he basically tells Emma that as an educator, I can't help you out, but as a father, I'm all for it. Well, as a parent, pardon, I'm all for it. So basically, he says that, you know, with him being as an educator, his hands are tied, but if he was a parent, he's all for it. So Emma gets the clearance to go after Radich for her protest. And then Snake in season 3 has to deal with Emma trying to find her real birth father. That Snake knows something we don't know, as he tells Spike she's going to find out eventually. I mean, after all, we don't know much about Shane. After Degrassi High, he actually appeared in one episode. It Creeps, I think it was. But anyway, Snake tells Spike. And then basically, it's up to Snake to calm Emma down after Emma finds out where Shane is. He gives Emma a nice pep talk saying that, Shane wanted to be there for Emma and Spike. But unfortunately, Shane's parents didn't agree with it. And then he accidentally took acid. He took acid during a concert, and he fell or off a bridge on purpose or not. We don't know. And of course, he got brain damage and was put into the mental facility by his parents. So basically, Snake calmly explains to Emma the circumstances and says that, you shouldn't be mad at your mom. Give her a call. And so Emma does. That's good parenting. Snake unfortunately ends up getting leukemia for some reason. And then basically he's dealing with his leukemia. He wants to die, but Joey helps him out with the help of Wheels, who Snake still has hatred for. But Wheels tells Snake that his problems are putrid compared to his. He hit a kid. He caused the death of a kid and caused Lucy to be temporarily blind. So basically he wanted to die. And so basically they bond, and then, Snake's cheerfulness comes back in. Snake has a laptop from Spike. But unfortunately, Sean steals it in an attempt to impress some gang members, who he says basically that's his true calling, despite Emma being not too happy with it. So anyway, Snake stays home for a while, and then he comes back to school around the same time as Saturday detention. And basically, Raditch tells him these things, and Snake basically tells Raditch that they're good kids. They're punishing themselves for this thing. You don't have to do a Saturday detention thing. And basically, he gets in Raditch's head, and Raditch calls off Saturday detention. I think he still will give him weekly detention, but Snake in season 4 had to deal with Rick Murray coming back to the school and all that. He wasn't really a prominent part of the Rick Murray situation until Time Stands Still. Of course, he's the one who puts Jimmy on the Wacky Brain team with Rick, Toby, and Emma, mostly because of Hannah Sinclair's mono. So basically, yeah, he deals with that. He probably figures something fishy's going on, because Toby lies about getting his lip busted by Spinner and Jake. So basically, Snake had to witness the pain and feathers thing firsthand, sitting in the audience. Snake also makes a prominent appearance in the deleted scene when basically Raditch tries to talk to Rick and all that. And Snake tells Raditch, what are you going to do about this? Raditch says he can't do more harm if he's not around here. Snake says, what type of plan do you have? And basically Raditch blows off saying, this is not preschool and this is not part of the curriculum. Making friends is not part of the curriculum. Snake scoffs at him. And then basically Snake ends up having to comfort Emma with Spike. In the media room, Raditch comes into the room. Snake is upset because of the situation. Raditch says we need warning signs from the emails, and Snake says, of course I'll do it, but you should have had a better foresight. Basically, they blow off at each other. Snake stops the argument. Spike stops the argument, pardon. So basically, Snake does have to deal with a withdrawn Emma, basically stating that Emma is just not herself lately. I guess the shooting affected her more so than we all thought. And of course, Snake said to everyone who was gathering for the 6 o'clock news, he said, we all didn't take Rick's bullying seriously. We failed him in a sense. And he basically talks to Toby and Craig on the Monday about their feelings, and also Sean. So yeah, so Snake does well. Snake's the one who kind of tells Hatzalackles about the whole Paige, Mr. O relationship and all that. And basically says that, which side are we on? It's obvious that Snake is actually protecting Paige and saying Mr. O's the monster. And Mr. O does agree that he is the monster. Of course, Snake and Radish would actually make up because in the background when Hatzalakos is talking, I think Snake hold out his hand first on Radish and basically they shake each other's hand. I think they basically agreed to let bygones be bygones, which is great. So then of course Snake has to deal with Emma's eating disorder as a father and all that. But of course Snake has his own problems in season 5 because he has a midlife crisis. He gets a motorcycle. Finds out Hatzalakos has a motorcycle, and basically they hit it off, and then they kiss. Emma and Peter see that, and basically are disgusted by that. Of course, Emma and Peter were dating in secret. But I mean, Snake begs Emma not to tell the truth. And basically, Spike is more upset with Snake forcing Emma to lie than his Trieste. However, Snake does get Spike back, thankfully. And, everything was back in the house. His missing presence has put a lot of stress on Emma, who's now has a lot of stress put on her. All that. And Manny too. Manny's putting pressure on Emma. Why? Emma's home life sucks now, and that's part of her problems with her eating disorder. But thankfully enough, Emma gets the help she needs and all that. Season 6, Snake has to deal with the incident with Sean knocking out a guy while street racing with Peter and all that. I don't know how he did that, but basically, yeah. With Snake and Spike out of the house for a weekend, there was a party thrown for Liberty, and unfortunately that turned out to be tragic because JT got stabbed in the aorta and all that. He basically lashes at Emma saying that, we all are grieving over JT and all that. We all got to move on somehow. But basically, your hatred is not at Lakers. Your hatred is at Manny. Which is true. I mean, there are good reasons why Emma hates Manny and all that. Like, they make up with each other. Thank God for that. But I think Snake also realized that Emma is having troubles. I think Emma goes back to therapy because of her PTSD. I don't know. Yeah, basically Snake does these things. Season 7, he has to deal with Darcy because Darcy was so scared about being raped and all that. She didn't tell anyone. She was scared of how she was being perceived. And then when SImpson basically gives her advice and all that, Darcy takes it the wrong way, has an attraction to Snake, and then when Snake basically rejects her, she tells him that Snake did some inappropriate stuff to her. Even though that Darcy does come out with the truth later on, Snake is still under suspension. I think basically they probably thought that Snake forced Darcy to confess, but Darcy, I think, said that she was in the wrong and SImpson should come back. Snake would come back, but unfortunately he has some problems because the students were talking about him. Basically, Spike decides to leave him for a while and take the kids to her parents' place. Emma stays behind. Emma says that I have to be the one to help people. And despite Spike's misgivings, Emma helps Snake. And basically, Emma does well, and Snake is better again. So then, of course, Emma leaves for college and all that. So now Snake has to deal with someone else moving in. Connor. He's like, Connor? Who the hell is Connor? His godson. Snake's godson, Connor, who's now going to be in the Degrassi Gifted class program. So basically, yeah. So Snake does a good job as being a teacher. And then, of course, Connor has his fits and all that. But Snake does tell Claire gently that Connor has Asperger's syndrome because they had him tested and all that. So anyway, Snake, tells Claire about everything and basically helps out. Snake ends up being named interim principal when the Shep's reign finally comes to a crashing halt, in a sense, because of him insulting kids that are different than jocks and cheerleaders. So basically, yeah, so he takes over for a couple weeks. I mean, and basically, he runs a decent school. And then Snake gets the keys to the school in season 10, so to speak, after Hatzalakos, who replaced Shep after Shep's bad half year, leaves again. So now SImpson is king of the castle, and it nearly ruined him. Season 10 was great. He basically was kind of a lenient principal in a sense, knowing that students shouldn't be hit hard with discipline. Unfortunately, that comes to a head when basically he does little to help Drew in his case against being hazed by Riley and put on the flagpole. And of course, basically, Mrs. Torres basically is overreactionary to Allie being with Drew. And so basically, she tells Snake that there will be a lot more mistakes at the school in the future, but with someone else. So practically, she puts an ultimatum to Snake: shape up or ship out. Snake then said everything will be fine. He tells Holly J and Sav that you have to fix the school. You have to tell the school to behave themselves on Vegas night. Understood? And then unfortunately, it all comes crashing down. Sav and Holly J have striptease alleys in the boiler room with Drew. A shooting happens. Some kind of panic and all that. Yeah, the shooting was Fitz trying to destroy Eli for Claire, I think. I don't know. So basically, Snake now is forced to run the school under a tight ship. So Snake basically decides to make some changes to basically punish the school. Now, it was warranted. So basically, he made them wear uniforms, wear key cards. Basically, the school now has to have police protection and all of that. And he's canceled every extracurricular. Everyone thought that Snake was basically being unfair and all that. But I can understand where Snake gets it from. Basically, that the whole school basically played him for a chump. Basically, his leniency, everyone took advantage of it. And he had to do something about it. I don't condone it, but Snake had to do it. Of course, everyone is mad about the extracurriculars. Basically, they plaster Snake's car with stuff. Snake is upset, but then basically Snake is told that they want to talk about it. So basically, he tells the school that, you keep behaving in such a way, little by little, the extracurriculars will come back. He's being fair in a sense. And then in season 12, after a year without much drama, unfortunately, season 12 would have drama in it. Snake tells everyone that basically the uniform policy is off. Basically, you can wear whatever you want now, but you still have to wear your key cards and all that. Although in subsequent seasons, he does get the shirts thing, the shirt colors and all that. I think basically it wasn't like a uniform. It was just like wear something that is that color and all that. Well, Snake does put in ball chairs for posture in the remedial room for kids who are struggling and for troublemakers. Snake unfortunately has had a tendency to underreact or overreact. His underreactionary phase happened mostly in season 12 when Cam decides to kill himself in the greenhouse. And Eli sees his body. We don't know how Cam died, but I know he committed suicide. Snake basically breaks the bad news to Katie and Maya, but Maya seems indifferent and all that. Say what you want. I think Maya basically was mad at Cam for killing himself when he should have just given her help and all. Told her he needed help. She would have helped him. I mean, and suicide is bad. That point I get. So anyway, Snake, of course, comes under fire in a sense. Because Snake suspended Cam for a week for his actions towards Sig during an intramural floor hockey thing. It seemed that Snake had completely dropped the ball when it came to Cam's problems and all that. I think if Snake figured something was wrong with Cam, he probably would have helped Cam out and all that. That's what saved him from a tongue lashing from the school board. I think basically he had no clue about Cam having problems. And if Cam had troubles and came to him and he was screwed up, then basically that would have been bad for Snake, and he would have ended up like Raditch in season 4. Basically, he would have been out the door. And Snake would have been hypocritical because, he was the one who basically told Raditch to take accountability, and he didn't take it himself. I know Snake, in a way, shouldn't be blamed for Cam's death, but if Snake was more attentive towards Cam's behavior problems, I think he would have helped him. So then, of course, he had to deal with Adam being shot at prom. And then basically, Maya had issues. He overreacted and gave Maya suspension for cyberbullying when Maya was the victim the whole time. It seemed that basically it was retaliatory action and all that. Yeah, he didn't help Maya a lot, as he should have. Then came Degrassi News in season 14 that basically, all this happened. And it's like, how did Snake not see this coming and all that? It all blew up at a fire at a campaign stop for Miles' dad, who ended up winning the mayoral election some fucking how. And then, of course, you got yourself that Snake basically, with this Degrassi News thing, basically that he lost the confidence of the students and he lost the confidence of the school board. And obviously he would be dismissed. And then Pill came in with her policies. I mean, the cell phones and the backpack policy, yes, that's fine. The cameras, it could be effective if used for good, which Pill didn't, because Pill used it to spy on students to see if she did a good job. And the no affection policy, I still think that's pathetic from Pill. I still think it's pathetic. Anyhow, so SImpson was basically out for half a year, and it was terrible. But Snake ends up coming back in next class. The fury is that basically when they investigated and found out that SImpson had not much knowledge of Degrassi News, they couldn't get mad at him, so they basically gave him his job back. And I think he would have got his job back anyhow. But it was actually accelerated by the fact that Pill had overstepped her boundaries and basically, ticked off Drew's mom, who basically knew that her son was being treated unfairly. And she had more ammo to knock Pill off her perch. So SImpson comes back to next class, has to deal with some students and all that. One major storyline he had to deal with was the Black Lives Matter thing, stemming from Frankie's racist poster in season 16. Or season 2, next class, if you will. So basically, as we all know, Frankie and the volleyball team made a poster. Unfortunately, Frankie drew gorillas that symbolized the captain, who was black and all that. And of course, in black culture, that's terrible. So basically, Frankie gets kicked off the volleyball team, but not by Snake, but by the other players. Frankie has to deal with apologies. And basically, after SImpson suspends Tiny for trying to stand up to Shea. I thought it was Shea. It was Lola, I think. But yeah, he stood up for somebody and he got suspension for that. Imagine if the other guy had done something about it. What would have happened? But basically, yeah, Throwback Thursday was basically supposed to celebrate some cameos, but it turned out to be all about Black Lives Matter. And they basically say that SImpson's unfair about this, basically suspending Tiny for protecting someone and not punishing Frankie for her racist poster. Snake doesn't want to hear anything about it. And basically, he may have forced Tristan to try to squash any protests during the alumni event. So basically, Snake is not really willing to listen to all that. The students take it upon themselves to make Snake listen. And basically, they just wanted to discuss the issues. They don't want to enforce things on SImpson. They want to discuss it. SImpson finally caves and says, okay, fine, we'll talk about it. We'll have discussions. We'll do whatever it is possible. And, Snake was a better person than that. It was kind of weird that SImpson was only in the series finale in Next Class Season 4, and he wasn't in any more episodes. That was kind of weird to see him only in one episode in that season. Yeah, well, I guess the longevity happens. So Snake has been in every season of Junior High, Next Class, Degrassi Next Generation, all that. Who knows what type of person Snake really was? To me, as principal, he's number 2 because of his longevity. He's had some great moments in helping people, but he's also had his bad moments. But it's mostly biased because he's been around for a lot of seasons of Degrassi, whereas no one else did. I believe as principal, he was in 9 seasons, from season 10 to 18. So that's 9 seasons. And basically, no one else had more than 3.5. Well, I say about 3 2/3 with Radich. Because, he got kicked out in the 15th episode, season 4. So, yeah, basically, yeah, you're going to have a lot of problems to deal with, your longevity and all that, and you have to deal with teenagers. And Snake did a good job handling Emma's situations and all that. Emma did call him dad for good reason. So anyway, thanks for watching this case study, and see you all later.